Welcome back, Hoodie fans, friends, and family. I'm here with Jake Stoop today and what's going to be a fun one. I'm Brent Lyons.
Coming up on the Minute Hoodie Show, track season is approaching. We hear from a few Arlington runners and dive deeper into the journey of a very special Arlington track member. And I'll say he has a quite good taste in hoodies.
You flatter me. First, we may have figured out how to beat our rival, the Bartlett Panthers. Let's take a look.
All you guys know why you're here. Thank you for coming to meet me today. I have not beaten Bartlett in football the last 4 seasons, and I need some help, all right? The one thing all you guys have in common is that you've beaten them, so help me help you.
What's in it for us?
We'll take some students off your hands, and they'll actually get to be a part of a good media program.
Yeah, that's fair.
Germantown, y'all beat them in week 5. How did you do it?
Well, all you really have to do is hold their D1 committed quarterback.
Bartlett 42, Arlington 21.
And throw like a 30-yard touchdown or something. It's really not that hard.
Okay, I get it.
I was just trying to help, man.
It's fine, it's fine.
Hear me out. This is all you gotta do. Spend $93 million on a new school, new fields, new facilities, all that stuff, and then give them expensive lunches. Get the whole deal.
Well, how does any of that even lead to wins?
Well, it doesn't really help, but at least we have strapping young men taking the field every Friday night.
I wouldn't expect anything different from you, man. This is not helping.
I know how you do it. Back in 08, I showed them Panthers who's boss. I can show you how to do it, but I can't promise you'll like it. You wait.
That's right. Just wait until you have a 6'11" wide receiver.
No! We don't need that.
Well, what are we supposed to wait for then?
You wait until they suck, and then you strike.
How does that help him? They're one of the best programs in the state.
I've been meaning to ask you this. How are you still alive?
Yeah, to be honest, I forgot you even existed.
We used to be best friends.
Well, you were never my friend.
How did you even get here in the first place?
Well, that was awkward.
Does anyone have any helpful advice?
You could recruit better.
You could play defense in the second half.
Come on, mate. Why don't you just build a new high school?
No, we cannot just build a new school whenever we want. This is not helping.
Being completely transparent, it all depends on your young quarterback. He's the foundation and the cornerstone of your team. If he's good, you might have a chance.
Yeah, who y'all got?
Yeah, that's toast, man. Well, whatever the solution is, let's hope it gets figured out by next season.
For sure. There's more to athletes than meets the eye. What's more important than their output on the court, the field, or the track is how they got there. Today we look at the journey of a familiar face and how his story is an inspiration to many.
I worked for FedEx. I'd been in Indianapolis for about 9 years. A position came available that I had told Kristen was probably a once-in-a-career opportunity if it was ever going to come available. It did. Took about 6 months during the interview process, and ultimately we got the job. Early August of 2016 is when I started.
We just sat them all down and just said that, you know, their dad had an opportunity that he really couldn't pass up here in Memphis. My main concern was just with Brent being in middle school, that he would be able to make the transition well, that he would be able to find a good group of friends and a place to belong in a new church. But Brent is actually super resilient, and he was probably the most open to a change and a challenge. I mean, he was just ready to take it on. But I had been messaging back and forth with a friend just about Brent's first week at school, and it was not a great first week. But as the weeks went on, he settled more in, and it didn't take long for him to feel at home, I think.
I've seen his confidence grow a lot more from where he used to be really shy and keep to himself, and now he can walk in a room and talk to anyone, regardless if he knows them or not.
Brent had a friend that he had met at school that kept encouraging him, hey, just try Bellevue, try Bellevue. Bellevue probably wasn't on the list of places that we were going to go. It felt like it was going to be too big, and so we really tried several other places before we really felt welcomed at home.
Eventually we did go, and we ended up staying, and it's been really good.
We've seen quite a few MAs come in and out of the house, especially through the summer, just having them over all the time for meals and for basketball or for, going swimming or whatever.
But investing in Brent and the rest of our kids and spending time trying to develop a relationship so that they see their faith being acted out in front of him. And so what I think has been important is it's not just coming from mom and dad, but it's also coming from those that are closer in age, but in positions of leadership that are showing him how to walk the walk and how to be a man of faith. And that's been encouraging, I think, over the last 6 years.
Brent has really started taking a leadership role, probably I would say like sophomore year, where he really just leads by example in the way that he goes after every workout. He does it to the best of his ability. He does it completely and fully. He doesn't complain, and he brings others along with him. And then I've really seen in the last 3 years where he has been focused on making sure everyone on the team is invited, included, and they're doing things beyond just running together. They're getting together, we're doing pasta dinners, we're traveling together, all those kind of things. He's been very instrumental in making sure the whole group, I think, feels included and feels like they're part of the team.
We're down to 4 months here left in high school, and it gets, I think, a little more difficult each day, knowing that once that first one steps foot into college, it's just going to be a constant change for us and a way for us to have to adjust and grow.
I probably won't miss the messy bathroom and all those things, but I will miss just another guy in the house to talk to.
Brent always invites friends over in the night, and they just have a good time, and it's gonna be hard going to sleep without hearing that noise.
He taught me a lot of things as he's grown. And I think especially in these last 2 years, watching the way the Lord has just taken his life and made something beautiful out of it.
Thank you, Chris Beck, for that piece. Today we have two members of the track team, Gabriel Torres and our very own Brent Lyons. It's good to have y'all at the studio today. How are y'all feeling?
I'm great.
Fantastic. You changed pretty quick, man. That's kind of surprising.
I had a couple minutes, but you know.
Okay. Gabriel, we'll start with you. Walk the viewers through what your last year of your journey has been like.
What didn't go wrong? So last year, playing football, partially tore my LCL in an awful play with an awful coach. Thank the Lord he's not there anymore. Much better coach and staff. But after that, leading up to that track season, I was cleared 3 weeks before our first meet. I hadn't done any sprinting until then. So that, definitely affected my whole season. And what really hurt the most was my mentality, because I went from, being, above average to now completely just below average. And, the effect that had on my mentality was something I had to fight that whole season. So I'm hoping this year, a little more different. But luckily, unfortunately, I had to leave the football team. I wanted to get a head start on track this year. Wanted to make sure that I could actually put out what, I know I can do. And, thankfully enough, I was able to get a scholarship to go run at Arkansas Little Rock, which is fantastic. Being able to compete at that next level is really going to be something that I'm definitely going to enjoy. But ironically enough, I leave football to not get hurt, and I still ended up getting hurt. So now I just got cleared last Friday. We've got our meet coming up, and hopefully things, it's going to set me back a little bit, but I think I still recover and hopefully do good.
How do you battle that struggle with mentality of knowing you want to put out the best effort you can, but you continue to get hurt?
I mean, it's rough. It is definitely rough. But, I mean, once it's happened, it's happened. After that, you really just have to put your head down and just keep doing what you keep doing the most that you can do to get back to where you were.
Yeah, well, good luck to you this season. Hopefully no injuries come about.
Yeah.
Brent, we just watched your documentary on your story, how you came from Indiana to Memphis, but what would be the main thing that you would say you can attribute to your success?
Well, I'd say besides the Lord, because I couldn't do anything without Him, and through this process, my family has definitely played a huge part in that. We've been very blessed, but lots of the opportunities that I've been able to have, whether it be through traveling or different things like training, things that I needed to happen for my success to come about, I wouldn't have had if it wasn't for them. So definitely my family, but also just allowing myself to put myself out there, because when you're running an hour and a half every day with somebody, you kind of got to get to know them, or it's going to be pretty awkward. It's going to be hard to get open, and it's going to be hard to be vulnerable with that. So just being able to put myself out there every day and be available, whether it be to my teammates, to my coaches, just to be open, and just go through any step that anybody needs me to go through has also helped a lot. So
Yeah, and same question for you. What can you attribute most to your success?
Honestly, when I first moved here, right when my 8th grade football season ended, the first thing I did was go out, look for an AAU team. And then I found Coach Mitchell, who's our JV coach. I found his program. And honestly, that's what I started running in 7th grade, but I didn't realize like where I could actually take track until I met him. So, I got with him, Coach Triggs, and, they both really helped me out, and they both, developed me into the sprinter that I am now. So I really feel like without them, I wouldn't have been able to take it as far as I am now.
Yeah, that's really cool. It's a testament to how coaching can develop even great talent and make it even better. But Brent, going into the season, y'all have just started having meets. How have y'all done to this point, and how has Arlington performed?
Well, I mean, it's kind of a weird thing to ask overall how we've done, because everybody has had a good race. Everybody has a race under their belt almost. Jersey will get his this weekend. But right now it's just getting the time out there and making sure that you're running and going through the motions so that you can be ready, because like we run a lot of meets, and it's a little different for us compared to another sport where you have to win those games in order to qualify for postseason. We really just have to be ready when it's time for sectionals, because as long as we run our best race on that day, we make it in. So it's a little bit of a blessing. All these are just kind of test runs leading up to that. So in terms of if we did good or bad, I think on the side of like distance team, we did really good. We got good times out there. We saw freshmen surprise us a little bit and run faster than maybe we thought they could. And the sprinters as well had some freshmen do great. Had everybody that ran did great, but obviously trying to build off that. And we want our first race, which was 2 weeks ago, to be our worst race. We don't want to look back on this and say this was our fastest race of the season, because that would be an awful season. But I think that we have good building blocks going forward, and I'm really excited to see where we go.
Yeah, knowing that you can still make the postseason no matter how you do in the regular season, that once sectionals hits, you can make it. How does that affect your preparation going into it, even your mindset and how you practice?
Well, I think it's a blessing and a curse at the same time, because if you have, like in basketball, if you have a really great team and you're winning all those games, like if you slip up once, that's okay. Like if you have a bad game, you know that throughout the season you've done the work, and it kind of applies in track, but at the same time, you have to be on your best that one day. Like if you didn't get enough sleep the night before, or you're not ready when it comes time for race day, then that's it. Like you missed your opportunity. You could have ran the fastest times in the state all year, but it comes down to sectionals and you get 5th. Well, now you don't qualify because you didn't make top 4. Yeah. Like, so it's really, you have to kind of balance out your mindset a lot, knowing that you can have these great times, but you got to put those ones to the side, because once sectionals comes, you just got to be ready for that.
Yeah. And Jersey, back to you. You already said that you'll be back this weekend. What is your mindset going into it? How excited are you to get back out there?
It is. I don't know if you saw, but man, yesterday I was excited. It feels so nice to finally be out there to start sprinting again. With no hold bars, and like I said, it's just it's the last ride. So obviously I want to go in there. I want to give it everything that I can, and the excitement. It just it's awesome, man. Yeah. I'm excited. Yeah.
So for the audience out there, if they don't know, track meets are a pretty long occasion, right? What would be your pitch, both of you guys, to get students to come out and watch y'all on your last ride senior year?
Well, I don't know how much of a great pitch I can make to people to come watch distance races, because I would never ask anybody to come out there and watch me run a 2 mile, but you should definitely come watch me run the 100, because that's special. But I mean, it's just enjoyable. Like, it's not like basketball games, football games, they all go back and forth. Like, they take a while too. They go back and forth. Like, when you're watching the 100 meter, maybe for him, the mile for me, like, it's just like, you start and you end. Start point, end point. It's right there. Like there's nothing that wavers. There's nothing that's going to stop the thing from starting or stop it from finishing. It's going to go on. And in that moment, you get to you know exactly what you're cheering for. You're cheering for either whether it's your friends or your teammates to win the race. And how fast they go dictates how good they're doing. So it's a pretty simple thing to cheer for. It's very simple to understand, and you kind of just get to walk around and chill. It's not like you don't have to be really into it to understand what's going on, and it's a pretty chill atmosphere, I feel like.
What about you?
So for me personally, what I enjoy most about watching it is when people are running, it's not it's less of a team sport almost. You know what I mean? So for the person that you're cheering on, obviously if they're getting first, whatever, then they put in the work. They are the best one at their event, you know. Yeah. So it makes it really exciting to be able to, if they win, to be able to go around, maybe brag a little bit, But yeah, that's the way I see it.
Yeah. So hopefully it'll warm up a little bit, so y'all have a better pitch to get students out there, so it's not super cold.
Yeah.
But thanks for joining us at the desk today, for sure. And now we turn to our next segment, Coach's Corner. I sat down with Miss McKay, assistant coach of the AHS softball team. Let's see what she has to say. Welcome back to another episode of Coach's Corner. Today we have Mrs. McKay joining us on the Coach's Corner set today. I know I'm not Brent, but hopefully I do a good job at interviewing our assistant softball coach. Just introduce yourself and let us know who you are.
I'm Coach McKay. I'm one of the assistant coaches for the softball team. This is my 10th year of being an assistant, and my dad is also an assistant, so that's pretty cool for me.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, you've been here a while, you've had kids grow up through the program, play a variety of sports, but what made you want to coach softball at Arlington?
Well, I grew up playing softball. My dad, he taught us how to play, me and my two sisters, and we got to play in college together, all three of us, and it's just a sport that I've always loved, and I love to see kids grow in the sport and kind of reach goals that they set for themselves, and I love the team aspect of it, and it's just a lot of fun.
Yeah, so there's a lot of fun aspects to it. Everything can kind of come together to be a great experience, but what would you point out and say, this is my favorite part of coaching?
Probably getting to coach with my dad, because not a lot of people get to do that, and I love that we get to spend every day together doing something that, he cultivated the love of the sport in me, and now we get to do it together, and we get to help these girls, and it's more than just the sport with the girls. It's about the relationships we develop with the girls, and I love the relationships.
Yeah, for sure. So you've obviously had a couple games so far this year. What are you most looking forward to for this season coming up?
I'm looking forward to seeing how the girls come together and grow. We're kind of a young group, and we're trying out some new things, so it's exciting to kind of see them reach new potential that they didn't know they had. So I'm excited to see where we can take the season by the end of it.
Yeah, and this is for the girls, so obviously you said you had a young group, you're kind of rebuilding, trying to figure out who's going to be those people moving forward.
Yeah.
At the end of the season, when you look back, what do you want to know happened? What do you want to see the girls grow in, and looking forward to next season as well, what do you want to see them grow?
I want to see the girls start to believe in themselves since they are so young. I want to see them realize I am capable of doing this, because we see it every day. We know that they can, and then sometimes they doubt themselves. So I want to see them kind of start believing in themselves and realize their potential and see themselves how we see them.
Yeah, so what was one piece of advice that Coach McKay would give to a young softball player coming up?
There are no days off. You have to continue working and pushing yourself. You can't ever say, well, that's enough. I've worked hard enough. There is no such thing as hard enough. You can always push yourself further. You can always challenge yourself to be a little bit better. If you reach one goal, if your goal is to get 2 hits every game, and you hit 2 times and you've got 2 hits, well, don't sit back and say, well, I've got my 2 hits, so at my next at bat, it's okay if I don't get a hit. Change your goal and say, okay, now my goal for this game is I'm gonna get 3 hits because I can. And challenge yourself, push yourself, because you never know how much you can do.
For sure. Yeah, so thank you for joining us on the set of Coach's Corner today. One more question I wanted to ask. You obviously have a son that's committed to play D1 baseball. How has that experience been like?
That has been the craziest experience. It's been fun watching him. He loves the game, and he's constantly working outside of the allotted time frame. He gets that he has to keep working and pushing himself. So for him to last summer start getting all these offers rolling in, it went from kind of, I don't know what I'm going to do, to, oh goodness, school after school was calling him, texting him, emailing, asking to talk to him. And it was just exciting to watch him kind of realize, hey, all the work I've put in was worth it, but he just has to keep pushing.
Yeah, well, to see the journey he's gone through from changing sports and just trying to focus on one and now seeing how much success he's having, that's really cool to see for us as well.
It is a lot of fun.
So yeah, thank you for joining us on the set of Coach's Corner today. Good luck to the girls softball team as they move forward into their season. But now let's go back to the set for what's up next.
So Arlington fans, we know what you're wondering. What's up next? I'm Carson Yarbrough, and I've got the details for you. The Tiger baseball team takes on MUS tonight at 7 o'clock at home and plays Brighton tomorrow night at 6:30. Girls lacrosse plays at Lausanne tomorrow at 5:30, and the boys play at 7 o'clock. Finally, boys soccer left for Foley, Alabama to compete in a tournament. Their first matchup is against Fairhope tomorrow at 8 o'clock. I'm Carson Yarbrough, and that's what's up. Next, see you at the games.
Whoa, you're back.
I did. Yeah, you're right. So, Jake, I'm back. Have a question for you real quick.
Welcome back.
Why? Oh, thank you. Why should people tune in to the Men in Hoodies podcast after we've left high school?
So you see, while the Men in Hoodies may leave, the Men in Hoodies legacy will never leave. And while we may stop our Arlington high school tenure, sports never stop. You always need the updates streaming into your head, streaming into your ears, and that's what the Men in Hoodies podcast can provide for you.
Yeah.
Tune in on Spotify or Apple every week and be there.
Yeah, because Sports Center's never enough, so Men in Hoodies has got you covered as always, right?
Absolutely.
For sure. Thank you for tuning in to Men in Hoodies Live. We hope you enjoyed the show.
Make sure to check out the Men in Hoodies podcast for weekly sports talk wherever you get your podcasts.
Make sure to follow the Men in Hoodies Instagram page for weekly podcast updates, sports reactions, videos, and more.
See y'all later.
The water chose me.